Okay, so I just finished reading Catcher in the Rye. It took me about 2 weeks to read it. This was a book I first read in high school in 10th grade, I think. Um, so it's been a while since I've read it. And recently I was starting to read books more. I found myself having more free time and wanting to read more. So I decided, why not read Catcher in the Rye? One of my favorite books from my teenage years. Loved it in high school. Why not read it again? So I read the book. Cover to cover, whole thing, and I was sorely disappointed. Now I know this video is probably going to get a ton of hate because this was like everyone's favorite book in high school. Ask people what book they loved from high school. 9 times out of 10, it is The Catcher of the Rye. Now, I'll tell you why I think it's overrated. First thing, the book is it just doesn't really go anywhere until the end, really. Spoiler alerts for a 50-year-old book. Actually, it's probably closer to 70 years old. This was written in the 50s. So, yeah, spoilers for a 70-year-old book. It's probably older than your grandparents. Now, the main character is essentially expelled from his boarding school. So, during the remainder of the book, he just walks around and just complains about life and how fake people are. He gets into a lot of silly adventures. I'll admit there were a lot of scenes that I liked, but I just felt like a majority of the book was just him like complaining about things. He was like, "Oh, I don't like movies. Let me take 3 pages to explain why I don't like movies. Oh, I don't like cursing." Oh, he doesn't really say that, but there's some parts in the end where he talks about cursing. Um, but he'll just go on about how he hates plays, how he hates movies, how he hates pretty much everything, school, his friends, his roommates, and it just gets very mundane very fast and just kind of redundant. He just spends the whole book just complaining. And a second reason why I don't like the book is just the main character just comes off as a massive hypocrite. His favorite word is phony. He loves to talk about how people are phony. His brother's phony. His teachers are phonies. His just everyone's the nuns walking down the streets are phonies. It's just he just talks about how phony and fake people are. But the thing is that he is fake himself. Like he's just a massive hypocrite. He constantly lies. He lies about his age to get cigarettes and alcohol. He lies to pretty much everyone he just talks to. So he himself is a massive phony because he just lies. He acts. He pretends to be like in his 20s and he's really 16 years old. Although one thing I will say about the book, it is extremely well written. For a 7-year-old book, most of the language in here is still it still feels very fresh. It feels like this book could have been written maybe not 10 years ago, but maybe 20 years ago. It's aged very well, and I feel like the core ideals are still there. It wants to relate to teenage angst. Um, it wants it to be like a vehicle for the teenagers' angsty sexual frustration and just being angry at everything. I guess that's why we connected to it so much in high school. Let me know if you didn't read this book in high school. In my high school, it was mandatory for all students to read this book. I'm not really sure why. I didn't really catch it like a super underlying theme rather than just an angsty teenager. Maybe I'm missing something, but although I did find the end very surprising, I'll admit. The ending was really good. I love the ending, but it's just from the start to the end. It feels like there's just so much filler and stuff that could have been cut out and might have just made for a better book. Um, at the end, I don't hate this book, but I just don't love it as much as I used to. Maybe like 5 years ago, I would have given this book like a 9 out of 10 or something. Now I feel like this is more like a 6 out of 10. After reading it, I just don't really see what I saw in it. Maybe it's because I'm older, I'm more mature, and the book is obviously aimed at younger audiences, maybe like 15, 16, 14, 13, around there, high school age. But in the end, this book, I don't regret reading it. I still like the book, but I just don't like it as much as I used to. And I do feel like this book is kind of overrated. I don't feel like we should have read this book in high school because it doesn't really teach us like a theme. Like Lord of Flies, we read in high school. That was like, oh, without government, everything will fall into anarchy. That Fountainhead taught us objectivism. What else did we read? I'm blanking. I can't remember. Those were the only two books I remember reading. But it feels like most of the books we read had like this psychological or like philosophical theme to them that the schools wanted us to grab. This just feels like something you'd read just for like entertainment, just to pass the time. It doesn't really seem like the author has a statement or something. But I'm still glad I read it, even though Amazon sent me a messed up copy of the book. I do not regret reading it. Um, so for my next book, I will be reading Ayn Rand's The Fountainhead. This book is very long, 700 pages long. I just got into it. I'm about 18 pages in, and this was a book that I've also read in high school. Although it had the opposite effect of Catcher in the Rye. With Catcher in the Rye, I really related to it. I really liked it. I really thought that the main character was just kind of like, oh, he's really cool and doesn't conform. He doesn't do what anyone tells him. But I feel like this book is more of how I thought of Catcher in the Rye. This book tells us, this book is by Ayn Rand. She's an objectivist. This book was also written in like the 40s, 1943. I did not like this book in high school, and I'll tell you why. I really found it just a bore. I didn't really read that much of it. I read a couple chapters. It was just so long. I was like, what's the point? But as I grow up, I really come to respect Ayn Rand's writing. I really come to respect her philosophy on objectivism. Also, my favorite band, Rush. My favorite band of all time, Rush. They're a Canadian band from the 80s, late 70s. They really liked Ayn Rush, and a lot of their lyrics draw from her philosophy of objectivism and not conforming and just finding your own path. Pretty much worshiping the fact that men are powerful, or I should say humans. That sounds misogynistic. That humans are powerful and we can create our own destinies and follow our own paths without a god or a government. So I will be reading this book. I will. Oh my goodness. No, I'm 7 minutes in. I'm not gonna restart the video again. So so this will be the book I'm reading. It's a big boy book. It's gonna take me a while to finish it, but once I finish it, I'll give my reviews on it. And that's about it. This video's been long enough. I hope it would be like 4 minutes long, but 8 minutes long. So yeah, peace.